Hey, welcome again to another episode of Jamming with Jason. Hey, today, if you've been listening to me for a while, I'm based in the Los Angeles area in California. And today I have a very special guest all the way from Russia. So literally, we're talking literally like halfway around the world, but I'm excited to talk to Pavel, and I'm hopefully I'm going to say this right when we get on here. But he is an expert in the psychology of success. There's a lot of things that he and I have in common. And so I'm excited for today's episode because this is one just where we get to kind of geek out and talk about some of this stuff. But as you listen, you're going to hear exactly what it is that you need to hear today. And so with that, let's roll that episode. Hey, Pavel, am I saying that right again? Pavel,
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 Pavel.
Pavel, 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 Pavel.
It's okay.
Pavel.
It's okay. Yeah,
I know
Jason,
it.
it's very nice to see you, and thank you very much for the invitation and for this conversation. It's wonderful to share some ideas and thoughts with you and followers, and I would love to learn from you as well because you're doing great. Thank you very much.
Well, these are just conversations. I mean, that's why I call
Yeah,
it jamming with Jason, because effectively, I kind of feel like it's just a couple of friends sitting around talking, but the rest of the world gets to listen. Right. And I always used to
right.
think, I mean, how cool would it be, right, to like listen to two experts about something, just kind of be the fly on the wall. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's a little bit about what people get from here. But yeah, let's jump in because I know we've talked a little bit before, and we're so
Yeah.
much in alignment
Yeah.
about how we're trying to help people in this world. But maybe just give everybody a little background into you, kind of how you got to
Yeah.
what you're doing, because I think that's always a very interesting story for people to understand how other people get to where they go,
Yeah.
right? Because that shows us clues, right? And there's clues to success. I know we've talked a little bit about that already,
Right.
right? It's like
Right.
you want to be successful, look at what other people are doing who are successful and try to follow what they're doing. So what's your story? Kind of how did you get to this point of kind of teaching and speaking and sharing these concepts with people?
Yeah. I was born in small city in northwestern part of Russia, close to St. Petersburg in Finland, in a regular family. It wasn't rich. I just had my grandfather and mother. My father passed away when I was 7, and sometimes we didn't have money to buy clothes or
Mhm.
something to. We never traveled before, and I often listen from my mom that it's expensive. Don't ask for that. Don't do that. Don't go there. And I wanted to discover what's the difference between successful, productive people and others. And back in 2005, I started to read biographies, autobiographies, books on psychology, business, and marketing, and searching for answers. I wanted to accelerate and achieve something great in my own life. And I didn't have money to buy seminars or coaching or workshops. I just found the free information in libraries. And for a couple of years, I didn't see the difference. I thought, it doesn't work here in my situation in Russia, for example, or something like that. But in a couple of years, when I look back, I realized, wow, that works. My mindset started to change. And when you improve your mindset, you improve your decisions. Because you improve your decision, you improve your actions and results. And as you said before, Jason, very, very nicely, that success leaves clues. And it's very important to decide exactly what does success mean to me, because we have billions of people on the planet, and we have billions of definitions of success. So it's very important to decide exactly what you want, what kind of values you have, what kind of dreams and goals you have. Take 100% responsibility for yourself, for your results. Eliminate criticism, eliminate blaming others and negative thoughts and words, because we become what we think and what we talk about most of the time. Because thoughts have a vibration. Everything has a vibration. And as you mentioned before, fear have low vibration. But when we're grateful, when we feel positive, when we focus on what we want and how to get this, we put the energy there. And the difference between successful people and others, that successful people think most of the time about what they want and how to get this. And poor and negative people think about what they don't like. So it's very important to control our thoughts and feed your mind with positive information. Be careful what kind of books you read, what kind of movies you watch, what kind of songs you listen to, because everything has a vibration. And if you listen songs, if you listen words, there are a lot of negative words in that. And when you feel that, when you even, for example, I asked my friend who also a speaker and trainer, and he invited me to his workshop, and he put the meditation. I use meditation for my clients as well. I practice some, I share some tools. But when he put their song after and said, okay, go to meditation to the participant, it was dozens of participants. After that, I asked to him, please don't do that, because when you listen this song, there are a lot of negative words. But when the person in this theta mindset, theta waves of your brain, you can program negative programs in that subconscious mind. So it's very important, movies, words, songs. So you can develop that. Any business skill, any skills are learnable. It could be time management, it could be goal setting, it could be creative mindset or entrepreneur's mindset. So start from something, step by step. It's the compound effect. It doesn't really matter where you're coming from. It's very important where you're going. So decide exactly what you want, take 100% responsibility for your results and for your life, and develop yourself. Constant and never-ending improvement. Take action to your vision. Take action toward your goals, because goals and dreams coming to us for a reason. If we have goal, if we have this dream came to us, we have all resources we need to achieve that goal. And don't hesitate, don't afraid to ask for help, to ask for recommendations. Jason, the law of attraction work all the time. So I found your profile in LinkedIn. I decided, there's nothing to lose if I send a message to Jason and invite him for Zoom conversation. And you said, yes, why not? But dozens of people before you, Jason, said no. And it's okay. Someone will say no.
How can anybody say no to you?
It's okay. It's okay, Jason. But someone, it doesn't really matter what you ask for. You ask for help. You ask to buy your product or service. Someone will say, no, I'm not ready. I don't want to help you. I'm not going to become your mentor. I don't want to become your client. But it's okay. Next. And you find your perfect client, you find your perfect mentor, you find friend for life or partner, or that's how we met each other, Jason. And I want to inspire our followers, listeners, and viewers that take action, and you can create a masterpiece from your life.
Well, and that's why it's there's a lot right there that we need to go and unpack. Okay, so we're gonna come back and talk a lot about some of those things that you just mentioned, but I wanted to go back a little bit and just ask you a few questions, because the older I get, I realize that so many people that are listening, they don't have the same life experience that I have. They don't have the same life experience that you have. They don't realize how different the world used to be. Okay. And so where I'm going is, again, you said you grew up in northwestern Russia, near Finland, St. Petersburg, beautiful place in the world, right? But when you grew up, the world was completely different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you and I were born, we would not be having a discussion like this internationally, right? We were still in the Cold War,
Yeah.
right? And what's interesting, because I was actually in Germany on holiday a couple months before the Berlin Wall came down, right? And then I lived in Germany for a few years after that. There were a lot of Russians that had kind of immigrated before and after the perestroika stuff that kind of happened there in the late 80s and early 90s. And so, again, I grew up in America, you grew up in Russia under completely different scenarios, right? And so here, I'm sure, because I realized this. I just talked to somebody a couple weeks ago that was from Poland.
Yeah.
Same thing, right? She grew up, she knew what communist Poland was like, what it was like afterwards. And so as a child in Russia, right? I mean, this was like, this whole thing that you started reading books about was completely foreign
Right.
to you, right? I mean, I don't know how many people I've talked to from Russia and the poverty that you went through, at different times. And even quote unquote, after it opened up, it was actually worse for people for a period of time, right? So how did you, go from that completely different world to having this desire to really improve yourself, to read all the books, to do what you could do, right? Because again, most people would say, screw it, oh, and they wouldn't have done anything. What was it that kind of sparked you or got you to go down this path? Because it sounds like you were doing it pretty early in life too.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, you're right. I was born in 1987, so it was Soviet Union, late Soviet Union.
Okay.
And 1990s were very challenging times for Russia and former Soviet republics.
Yeah.
So and how I started, you asked this question, Jason, probably because I had some feelings inside. I had that gut feeling that I can do something with my life. If I was born in this city, it's not necessary to live here forever. And I just wanted to find some answers to my questions. How can I improve my situation? How can I earn more money? How can I do something with my personal and professional life? And in 1990s, in 1980s, it wasn't easy to talk about money. You remember that time?
Oh yeah.
That part of the world. Nobody was an entrepreneur or business person because it was dangerous.
Yep.
And there were a lot of limiting beliefs and fears about that on subconscious level, because Soviet Union, that Russian speaking society, had a lot of crises in the 20th century, 2 world wars, a lot of situations.
Well, a lot of poverty and famine and everything in there with all those world wars too.
Starving and so on. And to my generation probably is the first generation that weren't or didn't have don't have any challenges with food. My parents and my grandfathers have had some very a lot of crises in life. It was there's nothing to eat, and probably you know that, and I wanted to do something with that, Jason. And probably first books I found and I've read inspired me to discover more, they sow that seeds in my head that during the years started to grow. So it's very important to support that seeds to make them grow. And it's like Chinese bamboo. You don't see any results for 4 years, but on 5th year it grows for several feet, several meters. So it's like this for personality. It's like building the skyscraper. You go deep, you build the fundamental things, and then you start to build into the sky. And the same with your personality, the same with the results. Everything starts inside, from inside outside. So if you want to create better life, more successful, more happy, more healthy, you should become more successful, more wealthy inside. So constant and never-ending improvement, that's the key to your personal success and to your goal achievement. You can achieve any goals. Any goals achievement is predictable. It's not an accident. You can learn from failures and successes of other people, because thousands of people came this journey before. So take their knowledges, take their experiences, take everything they developed before. Find the information, find the books, find the information in internet. You can create something with their help. So it's not necessary to create something by yourself. You have great library behind you. I like to read. I have library here in my room as well, and that's their stepping point. We can have a great mentors. If you want to have a mentor, physical, for example, fitness mentor, for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you can take his book and have a conversation with him. If you want to have a mentor, Mother Teresa, yes, you can have an hour conversation with her, or Martin Luther King, or Nelson Mandela, or Warren Buffett. It doesn't really matter, but you have all the tools, all the information that can help you. And as you said before, ask for what you want, ask for help, ask right questions, because when you ask right questions, you will start to process to find right answers. And it's like navigator system in your car. If you decide exactly what you want, for example, you want to double your income in a year, or improve your relationships with your spouse, or improve your health, or build your business, there are thousands of books on these topics. There are a lot of people in LinkedIn, in Facebook. You can ask for Zoom call. You can ask for what you ask for what you want, and it doesn't really matter if they say no. You had no in your pocket. Ask another person, and it's the compound effect. You will find the answer.
Well, I think that's important. You know, what a lot of what you said there, because I want to kind of pause and kind of, you know, recap a little bit of what you said, because there's a lot of really important things there that you just said that people might have glossed over. You know, like you said, is you know, when our grandparents were alive, it was a much different world, right? I mean, my grandparents grew up in the Great Depression, so it was kind of some of the equivalent. They didn't have food, they were moving around, they lost everything, you know, that happened here in the early 20th century in America, but they didn't have the access to the books. They didn't have access to podcasts, to YouTube, to the internet that we have today, right? I mean, really, late 90s, early 2000s, that was when the internet really kind of came out. And we have the ability now, and this is what I think is so beautiful, like you said, if you'd like some guidance from Martin Luther King Jr., the dude gave plenty of speeches and wrote enough stuff that you can get inspired by him if you spend time with him. And
Yes.
even though he's no longer physically on this planet, you can still spend time with him. You can spend time with Mother Teresa. The fact that you're listening to this podcast means that you're spending time with us right now,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And just the amazing opportunity that we have today for all of this information. I mean,
Yeah.
because like you said, if you had been born 100 years before, you would not have had access to these things that started to plant the seed
Yeah.
in your brain. And that's where I kind of wanted to go a little bit too, because something else that you brought up, I hadn't heard the analogy of the Chinese bamboo. I didn't realize that it took so long until like the fifth year. But I don't know if you see this from people you work with or not, but especially when it comes to kind of personal development, I think that Chinese bamboo or the skyscraper are great analogies, because it takes so much time and nurturing at the
Yes.
beginning to set the foundation, to start changing yourself internally, that unfortunately a lot of people give up before they get the foundation built. Right? They'll be really motivated for like 2 weeks. Right? Like I'm going to get fit. I'm going to go get Arnold Schwarzenegger's book and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to start pumping iron, and but then 2 weeks later, most people have kind of quit, I think, right? Is that kind of what you've seen as well?
Yeah. Yes, Jason. Thank you so much. And you're right. We are so blessed having these kind of opportunities to grow, to achieve our goals faster and easier than ever before. And a lot of people take this for granted. But when we're grateful for, we cannot have a fear. When we're grateful for, we attract a lot of situations that are in harmony with our gratitude, and we attract circumstances, people, and opportunities that are in harmony with our thoughts and our goals. So forming habits takes time.
Yep.
And 95% of our life controls by our habits.
Mm-hmm.
So successful people have successful habits, unsuccessful people have unsuccessful habits. I wake up at 5 a.m., Jason, and I invest first couple of hours in myself. So it helps me very much. It helps to develop my self-esteem and self-confidence and be productive during the day and be focused on what I want and how to get this. What do I want during these 2 hours? It does really matter, Jason. You can, dear friends who listen to us, you can invest just 5 or 10 minutes in yourself. Start with 2 minutes, start with 5 minutes. Just do something every single day. It's philosophy called Kaizen, constant improvement, small steps. For example, it's not necessary to wake up at 5 a.m. as I do. For example, if you wake up at 8 a.m., tomorrow wake up at 7:55 and invest 5 minutes in yourself. Do something for yourself. You can read book, motivational, positive book. You can do some physical exercises. I do physical exercises. Doesn't really matter what's the weather outside. Today is very snowing in Moscow, but I woke up and I went for the running session. And it doesn't really matter. It's raining, it's cold, it's warm, it's hot. I go for some exercises because I do something for my body every single day. I do something for my mind intellectually. So I read book or listen podcast or listen audiobook. But some days I have empty days. I don't listen, I don't read, because it's like an informational diet. It's very important for our mind to relax, because if we eat every single minute, it's not enough time for digestion, right? And the same with information. You have all the answers you have, but listen to your gut feeling, listen to your heart, listen to your passion inside, and develop yourself step by step. So decide exactly what you want. And for example, it could be one habit that you're going to form during next month. It could be reading books, it could be exercising, it could be meditation, it could be visualization, it could be affirmations. Just choose something. There are dozens of books, hundreds of thousands of books on self-made millionaires. So we know exactly who they are, what they read, what they look like, what their daily rituals. So model them. Success leaves clues, as you said before, Jason. So it's not an accident. It's not. It's predictable. So you can create a masterpiece from your life. That everything starts here in your mind. Then take a pen and paper and write down what you want. Write down your dream life. Write down your life in financial, in relationship sphere, in health and fitness, in your habits and traveling, in everything. So imagine it, idealize that. Don't think about how you're going to do that. Don't think about, but you start to attract in your life people, books, information, circumstances that are in harmony with your goals and vision. So I write down my goals regularly. Before I did that every single day, every morning. Now I do maybe every couple of days, but I reprogram my subconscious mind and I take action in that direction. And I see that my life getting better and better every single day. And I'm becoming better and better as a person every single day. Because when we provide much more value to people, we return, we get something from the universe. As we discussed, nice quote of our mutual friend and mentor with you, Jason, before the podcast show started. Zig Ziglar said, we can have everything we want if we help enough people to get what they want. So provide more value with your service, with your product, and you will become financial free. You will become happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. So decide exactly who you want to be and take action from where you are and with what you have right now. Don't wait for perfect situation. It's never going to be like that. Start with now, the power of the present moment, the power of now. Because a lot of people worrying about the past we don't have already, and a lot of people worrying about the future we don't have yet. But what we have, it's now. In our life, Jason, is what this conversation, you and me.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the only thing that's happening right now.
Yep.
Right in our world is this present. And it's interesting because again, as you're talking, right? And again, folks, this is maybe one of those where you want to go back and listen to this again, because I don't think you realize how much wisdom and knowledge just got dropped in the last couple of minutes as you were sitting there listening, right? But let's take this apart a little bit too, because a couple of the things that you said, and you mentioned kind of the subconscious reprogramming, right? And the fact that, again, one of the reasons why we're talking about doing some of these things, like reading some of the books and the music that you're listening to, is because whether you realize it or not, everything that you're consuming mentally is, in my opinion, more important even than what you're consuming physically.
Yes.
So many people know, hey, I need to avoid that kind of food because it's maybe not good for my body, right? And so I'll just take an example of like sugar, right? We all love sugar. I love sugar. But we know, right, it wouldn't be healthy for me to just sit around and eat sugar all day. My body needs other things, right? But mentally, right, and this is where, again, maybe just kind of slowing down your first 5 minutes, that you choose to do is, what am I actually consuming, and should I be consuming something different? Because like you said, you brought in that the example of your friend, where they were doing meditation and then he was playing a song. And again, what we put in our minds is how we're programming ourselves from the inside out. And so the fact that, they went through this whole meditation, that part of it was good. But then if they're feeding themselves some music, maybe from a lyric perspective, that's actually, programming some of those bad things in, right? I mean, it's, and hey, I love rock and roll. I love heavy metal. But there's certain times when that's not what I should be listening to, right? I need to be balancing what I'm putting into my mind. And so a lot of these things that we're talking about, right, that helped you to plant the seeds, those were things you were consciously putting into place, right?
Yeah.
Because again, there's all kinds of music, there's books, there's videos, so how does somebody kind of decide? Because I think this is one of the it's a blessing that we have the internet like we have now, but I think sometimes it's kind of a curse because people feel like they're just overwhelmed and they don't know where to go. So how are some ways that people can kind of figure out what's the right content for me to consume, or where should I kind of go? Do you give people kind of advice on how to actually figure out what's best for them?
Yeah. You said very, very, very nicely, Jason, about we are responsible what kind of information we put in our mind, and there's always connection between mind and body, mind-body connection, and you should put like a guardian or keeper that control the information you put in yourself. So I would suggest that listen to your heart. You know exactly what you like to do and what's good for you or not good for you. The same with food, the same with books, the same with information, the same with people you surround yourself with. So Jim Rohn said that we are something average, 5 people we communicate with. So if you think about 5 people you have a conversation during the week or day, you are something average. Your salary, income about the same, your goals and dreams about the same. So just start with something. If you never had a habit of reading, start with something. Read 1, 2, 3 pages every single day, and you will like it. Your mindset start to change. Your actions, your decisions start to change. But choose wisely the books. Read who is the author. He is good in this, for example, non-fiction book. He succeeded in this topic or not? What kind of his clients talking about him, and would you like to have him as a role model in something? If not, probably you should choose something else to read. But as we started to discuss some books, Jason, I'm author of several books as well, but I would suggest to read, first of all, classics of personal development are Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, James Allen,
As a man thinketh.
Yes. Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Maximum Achievement, absolutely my great friend and mentor, Jack Canfield, The Success Principles. That's the basic of psychology of success. There are hundreds of other books of Tony Robbins, W. Clement Stone, and Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, and so on. But Stephen Covey. But start with something. Read, for example, 1 book per month. Imagine in a year you will have 12 books already read. Yeah, different. You become different person. You increase your salary. You increase your self-esteem, self-confidence. You develop yourself, and there are a lot of benefits. You start to, and if we discover people who live long enough, for example, centenarian, and they read a lot, they develop their mindset. They like to develop their neuron connections in the brain. And that's the key. That's good for your health. That's good for your clarity of your mind and thought process. So that's the perfect. I'm so happy that I learned this early enough, but never too late. If you're 50, if you're 60, if you're 70, start with something now. Start with where you are, with what you have.
Well, I think it's funny because as you were talking, and this happens to me every so often, so I kind of go off the rails a little bit or go down rabbit holes. But as you were talking, it reminded me of an experience I had when I was a young boy. I grew up. We had a dog when I was younger, and I remember we were outside gardening or doing something. I was probably helping my mother plant flowers. And I remember, we had a dog. I mean, there was dog food bowl, where it would go to get its food that we put out for it. And I remember as we were sitting there planting the flowers, I saw our dog go over into the grass and start eating grass. And I'm like, Mom, why is the dog eating grass? Right. And she just goes, dogs know what they need. And for whatever reason, our dog at that time felt like it needed to go eat a little bit of grass. I don't know, maybe it had an upset stomach or whatever else, but animals are usually in touch with their feeling and know what feels right to them.
Yeah.
As humans, we think we're so goddamn smart that we're stuck in our head all the time. Right. And the hardest path is to go from your head to your heart, which is where you actually feel. Right. So as you were talking about that, I was thinking, one way for people just to try to figure out what is it that I need to do. Well, ask yourself the question, what do I need?
Yes.
And then go with the feeling. Right. Again, maybe if some of these authors that we talk to you, maybe that's what jumps out at you. Maybe there's, a certain kind of music or an artist or something that if you're just quiet and listen to yourself, you're going to know what's right for you at the time. Right. I mean, so again, like I have this knife that I love. I was sharpening my knife on the weekend and I was listening to Gregorian chant music. It's like, a real macho manly thing of sharpening a knife. And here I am listening to monks chant.
Right.
But that's what I felt like I needed to hear at that time. Right. So I turned it on. So what if we could be more like the animals that way and just kind of feel into it?
Yes.
And kind of on the flip side, is I know sometimes people, maybe you're feeling like you're angry all the time. I don't understand why I'm angry all the time. Well, let's talk about that Jim Rohn five people, right? You're the makeup of the five people you hang out with the most. Ask yourself the question, are the people I'm hanging out with, are they angry all the time? Because if they're angry all the time, or if you're always, reading social media posts of people that are angry and complaining about everything, and that's where you go all the time, it's probably not a surprise why you're angry all the time, right? If you're listening to angry music all the time, you're probably going to be angry. And so, but again, you get to choose, right, on what it is that you're going to consume.
Yes, Jason, you're right. And it's very important to invest some time during the day with yourself, without podcast, without radio, without TV, without internet. Just be with yourself, just 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. If you don't have 15 or 30 minutes for yourself, you don't have a life. So a lot of people in a hurry, they go somewhere, they listen something, but they don't have this time for themselves. As you said before, ask for what you need, ask for what you want. But how you going to listen the answer if you with someone or with something in your ears? So it could be just meditation or walking around the park just with yourself. A lot of people cannot do that. They want something, they turn on radio, they turn on audiobook, they turn on listen songs, some music in their car. But it's very important to be with ourselves a little bit without anything. It's like our stomach needs to relax, needs sometimes without food, just to digest the food that we already eaten before. The same with information, the same with our mind. It's because it's very energy consuming if we listen all the time, audiobook, or I want to learn something, I want to develop myself, I want to listen interview, I want to listen podcast. But it's okay if sometimes, some days you don't have you don't have the information. There are a lot of retreats, there are a lot of vipassana and something, but you can do your own vipassana for 30 minutes every single day, and you will love that time. You will want to have this morning 30 minutes for yourself, or morning or evening time, just with yourself, or journaling, or meditation, or visualization, or something like that. Just choose the tool you would love to, and just take responsibility to form this habit to spend some time with yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's important because what, from a learning perspective, because I've spent my whole career pretty much teaching people, is that, there's a big difference between information and actually learning.
Yes.
Right. And that just like with our food, we consume food, then we have to let it digest and do what it needs to do in our body.
Yes.
It's the same thing mentally. We consume, and because the learning really comes from that time of reflection and integration of the knowledge into what we do, and then the actual exercising and practicing of it. Until you take that time to reflect, and until you actually take time to do something about the information you learned, you don't really actually learn it or incorporate it. So that downtime is so important. In fact, there's a concept that I was taught of kind of called a content fast, which is very similar to, a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting and other things with eating.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of an idea, mentally, or, because, I think you kind of mentioned there's a lot of people that always want to have noise going on because they're uncomfortable being with themselves.
Yes.
But we have to take that time for ourselves, even if it's only a couple minutes a day, to at least start doing that, because that's the only way we get from our head to our heart, and we start feeling and understanding what it is that we actually need to be doing.
Absolutely. And just enjoy the process. A lot of people who are listening to us are result-oriented people. They love to set and achieve goals. They're achievers.
Check.
Yeah, but it's okay. Just go for the walking. Just read the book. Just enjoy the process. Enjoy the life, and it's very important to do something for yourself. Before our conversation today, I spent 3 hours with my chiropractor, with my mentor on health, and I did something for my body, because I know how it's important to do something, because as I mentioned before, we have mind-body connection, and to have clear mind, to have good health, good mood, I should do something for my body, for my physical and emotional state. And it's very important to do something differently. So go maybe in a different city, go for the trip, go in a new restaurant, or in an opera or theater, or a new restaurant. That's how we create new neural connection. That's we become more creative person, and we become more happy person. Because Aristotle said that the purpose of our life is to become happy. And when we are happy, when we grow, when we develop ourselves, when we getting closer to our goals, and when we provide value to others. So develop yourself and provide more value. That's how you become more happy person.
Yeah, it is. Oh, my. Well, we could talk for hours on this, but I know we've got other stuff we've got to get back to, and I know people that are listening have to as well. Yeah. So maybe any final thoughts from you, and also just kind of let people know how they can reach out to you as well.
Jason, first of all, thank you very much for great conversation. You are great person to talk with, and I believe
I'm just here listening.
Yeah, I believe we are on the same wave, and with this a lot of mutual values and vision. So yeah, I would say to our friends and followers and listeners that as I said before already, so you're responsible, you are great, you are a unique person. Never was the person like you before, and never going to be like you, with such values and goals and talents and so on. So become better than you were yesterday. Today, do something for yourself. Do something for yourself to improve your financial situation. Do something for yourself to improve your health. Do something for yourself to improve your relationships. And step by step, the compound effect will bring you to masterpiece, something wonderful in your life. So decide exactly what kind of life you would love to create, and take action to that vision. Ask for help, ask for new knowledges, search for the information, search for new ways to achieve that, and enjoy the process. Enjoy what you have right now. It's okay if we have some challenges. If we have some life lessons. It's good for us. Life's happening for us, not to us. So I believe everything for a reason, and we are so blessed. And I'm very grateful for this conversation, Jason.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of, help. Again, my friends that are listening, I like to use that term as well, is, we showed up today to talk, to give you some information. We could have been doing something else.
Yes.
But both of us know how valuable you are as a person.
Yes.
And how much of an impact you can make in this world. Right. A lot of these people that we talked about, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, some of these different people were just ordinary people that did some extraordinary things. Yes. Now they got to that place by taking it one day at a time, improving themselves, serving the people around them, and little by little, right? Just like our Chinese bamboo, just like our skyscraper, just keep at it, because it's that consistency. And this is one of the things that I've seen, and I know you've seen this too, is you'll never accomplish everything you think you want to in a given day. You won't accomplish everything in a week. But after a month, after 3 months, after a year, you're going to turn around and you're going to go, holy shit, I don't even recognize who I am right now, because it's all of these little things. I mean, it's our mental well-being is just like our physical well-being.
Yes.
And it's the little things and the consistency that make such a huge difference. So, my friend, I am so glad that we got to connect and share this time today together. Literally half a world away, but yet how connected we are as two individuals.
Absolutely, Jason. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share some ideas. I believe that some seeds we just planted in someone's heads can improve their lives, and it can accelerate their journey. Our life is too short to find the answers by our own. We can use the leverages.
Yeah.
Other people knowledge, other people experience, other people time, other people money sometimes. So use the leverages to achieve your goals faster and easier.
Well said. Well said. Well, everybody listening, go out and have a great week. Just start implementing one thing. Just take one thing that you heard today and do something different today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Just do it today, but just do one thing different, and every day just kind of keep plodding away at it. And eventually you're going to have exactly the life that you are planning and working towards.
Thank you.
So with that, have a great week, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Jamming with Jason.